Okay, here we go again. Inside Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 social behavior. This will be good. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be super entertaining.
What you can say about the upcoming Pyro system? It's dangerous, obviously. It's
Whoa, what is he?
There's a lot you can say about the upcoming Pyro system.
Is there really a lot you can say about the upcoming? It's copy-pasted the same thing 5 times and planets that all look the same with the same library of assets.
It's dangerous, obviously. It's lawless, certainly.
No, it's not certainly lawless, because in the previous video they said that you cannot go through the jump points if you're if you have any wanted level, and that you would surrender in Pyro to the authority. These are things they say themselves. I'm not making shit up. They said that in Pyro you would surrender yourself to authorities, and that's how you would be able to eventually go back.
But it's not all just chaos and carnage completely. It's also people just trying to make their living where they can in a place that's challenging and pretty different from the adjacent Stanton system. From repairing your neighbor's generator to supporting the nearby farmers, there's much you can do to be a social and upstanding citizen for Pyro's prosperity.
So the planets of Pyro are different from Stanton in the fact that they all have to deal with the Pyro star system being at the end of its life cycle, emitting huge amounts of solar flare radiation, and we have to consider, like, what is that actually doing to each planet?
That's so much fun. We saw it already in archives. So you're just flying, and all of a sudden you get like a blank screen. It starts like glitching out of, and given that this is Star Citizen, you don't know if it's a real glitch, if it's a real bug, or if it's this solar flare. But it's, constant stupidity of, everything goes to shit and you have to stop flying. So it is more time sink disguised as, it's solar flares. Okay.
Naturally, Pyro 1, closest to the sun, is going to be the heaviest influence of the solar flare firing off. So how do those people live? But the people furthest away from the star on Pyro 6 are going to have the least amount of radiation, but it's also going to be super cold at the same time. How do those people live instead?
In Stanton, you have huge landing zones, which are very protected, very safe, lots of security. In Pyro, there's no such thing. You're very exposed to the danger. Everything is a lot more spread out. People aren't huddled into land.
That's another word, guys, for saying we have fucking nothing and everything is damn empty. It's a giant empty planet with a bunch of resources scattered. Some of these assets that they've had for a while now, they just scatter and copy paste a few of them, but then it's all empty.
Landing zones, they have the entirety of the system to roam across.
There are no central sources of power in the Pyro star system.
That's another way of saying, guys, we didn't even bother making a large city, because you could make a pirate city, which would make perfect sense. It's a kind of like a border town, messy place, Mad Max looking in space sort of thing. No, it's empty space. Imagine if the people from Hello Games would have said, there is 15 billion solar systems for you to roam around and do your own adventures. And is there anything? No, there's nothing there. It's just there's nothing. We didn't bother populating those with different biomes, with different creatures, with fauna, with No, it's just emptiness.
All decentralized, and each outpost has its own different identity and what it means for you as a player. As you go to these different places, should you be aligned with one faction, you can visit these locations. Should you align with another faction, you can go to these other locations instead.
You've got a lot more to do there. So instead of
tattoos, they make a big deal about tattoos. You know why? Because that's the easiest thing to do. Just, you have the same NPC and you just change the little drawing in the face, and you spare yourself from actually doing a proper job.
Going down, doing a mission, flying away again, you can go down, do a mission, do another mission, do a third mission, and then go to another outpost on the same planet, do some missions there. You have a much more involved experience.
So let's look at some of the places you'll be visiting. So farmsteads are a small slice of life within the Pyro star system to get you introduced to what it's like to live there.
Landing complete.
There are places to gather harvestables.
We already have this, right? So you get a taste of what it is to live there. Let me ask you, have you visited any of the places that you already have instead? Is it something that, I know what life is like here? No. Gathering of fruit, that's what you give us?
Places to complete your missions. And ultimately, your first introduction to how people live in the Pyro star system.
You know what would be an experience of what you, how you live there is owning a place, owning a house, a bunker, a fucking room from a canteen in space, something that gives you a sense of belonging, that you have a place, at the very least, a place where you can log out and log back in from. That would give you a sense of, yeah, I'm really living in this place. I have my inventory here. I have my stuff here. I have my ship that I can claim it here. That would give you a true sense of, but as always, it's all lies and bullshitting and hyping and gaslighting you.
Farms are probably one of my favorite ones, just because I really like the vibe.
Oh,
a lot
fuck
more
you.
Open, plain-like areas, big fields of crops around them.
There is things to do, there's things to harvest, but it's also just the vegetation that kind of...
How they lie. There's things to harvest. What, there's farming now in Star Citizen Pyro? Where I can be a farmer in Pyro? Because there's a bunch of games in which I can actually do that. I can build my base. I can have something that grows, farming. I can even hire people to do. I have none of that. What are you even talking about? What harvesting?
sits on a lot of the desolate landscapes that we have in Pyro, give you a little bit of this mini feeling of like a little oasis.
There's one in particular on Pyro 2 that's really nice and has this really nice vibe, that kind of like lazy windmill circling.
It's a very nice little place, beautiful little location in Pyro. I like going there all the time. It's like you see, and there's a sky, and you know that there's space beyond the sky, and you see it's all like wasteland, and it's a lot of orange, and you just sunset orange, yeah, space Pyro. I love this place, freaking love this place. It's magnificent. You have to go. Eventually, go this place in Pyro. The sunsets. Oh.
In the breeze on a plain that's just like
There's a windmill.
Almost featureless apart from these few buildings on it. That really gives especially at sunset, like really gives an amazing vibe of like these people live in the ass end of nowhere, but
when the asses of nowhere, it's a little bit of Australian in there.
Really trying to do their best to survive.
There are going to be some good.
Can I pick up that? No. Can I pick up that? No. Can I pick up a plate? Can I stab someone with a fork? Can I do anything here other than walk and look around?
That are only grown in Pyro because of its unique star system that can be shipped back to Stanton.
We have a whole bunch of new mission types that you'll be able to do there. Then they're more geared around repairing pieces of machinery.
They're pulling this shit of, you're going to be repairing, you're going to go to a place, you're going to use your little multi-tool, you're going to aim there, and that's it. That's the repair aspect. This is a whole new world, guys. This is going to blow your mind. And you know what you can do too? It's move boxes and deliver like fertilizer for these. It's going to be in our fucking box, but you just imagine that you're doing something different.
We have what we call charge drain technology coming over from Squadron, which enables you to transfer an electrical charge from one component to another. So you can like jumpstart a generator, for example. There's scope for much more.
There's staring at the sunset. That's also a fun activity.
Gathering type of missions, like going out into the field, collecting crops.
Yeah.
There's a big focus on non-combat at a place like a farm.
Next, let's talk about Scrapyards.
Oh, here's where you drop all of the hull munching, from your reclaimer when it munches a ship, and you have all those big pieces of metal. You dump them there, right? That's what they're going to announce now, that they finally did.
Scrapyards are one of the few locations within the Pyro star system where you can actually service your ship that is not on space stations or LEOs.
Wow.
we'll have more scrap in a scrapyard, which makes a lot of sense. But we've got the towering cranes with derelict spaceships in there.
Doing anything, or they're just there for staring at? It's like just like a decoration sort of thing, or actually working. Any of these things actually work, or no?
Skeletons of spaceships being pulled apart.
Skeletons of spaceships, zombie spaceships.
And we can see that there is a certain order to things, where things get disassembled and moved around, and where your aircrafts are getting refueled and repaired. There will be
a fucking landing pad. That's what you're talking about. The same we've had for years.
little shops as well to kind of get you on the way for your journey.
And rearm your ship as well.
You will be able to refuel your ship. Amazing. We've never seen this before. And restock? Wow.
In addition to servicing your ship, you can also service the scrapyard itself. You've got to use your charge and drain tools to be able to repair pipes, repair canisters, any faults in machinery, etc.
It's very much about taking things apart and organizing them and shipping them.
No, lying. All lies. It's aiming with your multi-tool and refueling your ship. But yeah, it's not about any of what you're pretending to having.
Off again.
But unlike the landing zones within the Stanton system, there is no air traffic controller. There is nobody to filter out where you can go. You simply choose a path. But unlike the landing zones within the
ship repair, you're repairing your ship with your multi-tool.
Stanton system.
Can you actually do that? No. This was years, for fucking years. They talked about you will be able to fix your ship with your multi-tool. No, it wasn't really a thing. You just patch up the exterior look. You cannot actually fix anything, because why would you? No. But they go down so deep into their own rabbit hole of bullshit that they include in their trailers as if it's something real, when it's not. You don't fix your damn ship on your own. It's just the aesthetic look of it.
There is no air traffic controller. There is nobody to filter out where you can go. You simply choose a parking.
So salvaging all the various panels which have turned up at the scrapyards in order to process them. Another piece of non-combat gameplay at scrapyards might be repairing machinery. We them.
Hand salvaging. This is, how much are you gonna waste time here getting paid nothing? This is already in game. No one does it because it's completely pointless. You make zero, nothing. It's completely giant ass waste of time.
Another piece, apply it to the broken one and make that run instead. But of course you've broken the first machine by doing that.
Without the landing zones in the Pyro Star system, we're using scrapyards to be able to help service your ships so that you can navigate to other locations on the planet, as well as get back up into organizing themselves between different groups in order to purchase different food, water, ship weapons, ship components, armor, grenades, med pens, whatever, you name it. It can
nothing
be
new,
found
right?
between different
Nothing.
groups.
Same old thing as always. There's nothing new in terms of equipment. No new guns. You would think, right? You would think that there's like a cannibalizing. That's a proper gamey word. You're cannibalizing. So you have like a gray cat multi-tool turned into a gun. But that would be a serious game. That would be a real game, not pretending to be developing a game, but actually doing that, right?
In order to purchase with Citizens for Prosperity, you might visit locations such as Jackson Swamp on Pyro 2 or Conard View on Pyro 6. Conard View is in a very cold location that's very inhospitable, but people still need to be able to service and trade and do things around this planet. You can find different goods, different resources there, all being sold at this location. As Conard View is sheltered within a crater, it is also a safer location away from other headhunter gangs nearby. So we got.
How is it safer because it's in a crater?
Fewer people competing for your wares or trying to pirate from you either. Jackson Swamp is sheltered between these two different cliff bluffs, offering them lots of protection. And through there we went for a spaghetti western style main thoroughfare with lots of different landing pads around.
Oh, so what I said, right? Different ships, different guns, or specific like jerry-rigged ships. From no, none of that. Cannibalized weapons, as I was. No, none of that. There's nothing unique to it, but it has a Western style. Okay.
And because it's well established, it's got some like defensive measures so that it can't be immediately attacked by any rogue factions within Pyro.
The sea injection swap, it's a hard environment that these people live in.
You have the same fucking things.
It's not an easy living.
Visually, it echoes like the rest of the sort of art style that we call the sort of frontier art style.
If we look at the buildings, we see that they're built to have a certain purpose, but have lost that purpose.
There's lots of sci-fi. This is supposed to soften off all those corners.
And you visit locations like Gone of Steel and Golden Riviera.
Which are
Gone
what
of
exactly?
Steel is a smaller outlaw trade post perched in Pyro 4's massive crater. It's there as a stopgap between Pyro 3 and Pyro 6 because there is not much landmass around Pyro 5. Pyro 5 is a gas giant, and yet you need to have a midway drop-off to get from Pyro 3 over to Pyro 6. And
Yes, you're gonna be quantum traveling for hours in this thing, getting nowhere. And when you get to nowhere, it's the same thing as the place you came from.
far side, because Pyro's fastest.
Bunch of different things that come together. What makes Golden Riviera different is that
God, something different. I mean, now I'm excited. There's something after 11 minutes. There's something actually different. Okay.
now a tornado just went through the entire place. It is absolute chaos. Bits and bobs are laying around. Things have rusted, and you will find mattresses of where people have been sleeping in the weirdest corners. We can see that the people that have been living in the space have really outlived.
Can I log out in the mattress at least? Do I at least get that? I could make that like my home. I can just pretend I actually live there, just logging out from the mattress. Is that something I can do? Of course.
This location a little bit.
The idea is that these are once prosperous outposts that have since been like basically home invaded by the bad guys and taken over completely. So we use a lot of like more like fire and lots of spiked kind of like cladding and rusty metal
Isn't it that all Pyro like this?
elements just to give that kind of. I hesitate.
The player
That kind of.
Don't we have things like this? Is the exact same asset you have already in Stanton? This is copy pasted from Stanton to the little locations that you have already. They copy paste the same thing, but they just tell a different story of what it is.
Hesitate to say.
whole new frontier where people feel a little bit on edge and they're curious about you, but they're also hesitant to meet you at the same time.
Wow,
There is
wait,
no law.
an actual different helmet. This one? All right. They went nuts here, guys. They did something. They have a different helmet. Okay.
The players coming to our locations should feel like they are encountering a whole new frontier where people feel a little bit on edge and they're curious about you, but they're also hesitant to meet you at the same time. There is no law, there is no jurisdiction, there is no protection. There is just you and people trying to get by and live their lives.
Unless you want to travel back through a jump point. In that case, you surrender yourself to the authorities that shouldn't be there at all. But hey, let's just forget about that part of our bullshitting.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully that there's a whole lot more to Pyro.
Yeah, there's nothing at all. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be terrible. Again, yeah, imagine if it's bad already. Imagine how bad it will be with the emptiness of Pyro. Pyro is barren. It's not in the, oh yes, we thought about the color and the sand and the western. No, they just didn't do anything. You have these empty planets with these copy pasted locations and the bullshit. This one has fire. This one has lots of fire. This one is rusted. This one is also rusted, but it's different because you can pick up fruit here. You can already pick fruits in the locations you have that are these same ones that you see in the current PU. What is there different? Of course nothing. They just pretend to have something new and just kill time with it. And you're going to be quantum traveling forever, going nowhere worth your time. Guys, see you next time. Take care.